Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Really do appreciate your time. Tonight, we're talking about the case of Jack and Lilly Sullivan, who vanished from their Pictou County, Nova Scotia home on May 2nd, 2025. Today, there is new reporting about the Jack and Lilly case. RCMP is taking a closer look at the polygraphs, requesting new ones. Clearly, investigators are not happy with the results, or is there new questions they need to ask? Lots of details on the other side of this.
I've walked through storms in scars and grace, smile through pain with a painted face. They called me too loud, too much, too strong, but honey, that's the reason I belong. Every scar's a scripture, every tear's a hymn. I found my worth where the light grew dim. They tried to break me, but here's a twist. I turned my pain into a clenched fist. I'm an unbreakable woman, born of fire and pearl. I shine like grace in a reckless world. You can test my faith, you can shake my plan, but I'll rise again. Just watch me judged by the gloss, not the cause. But God don't build weak hearts from gold. He made me fierce and he made me bold. I bend, I pray, I roar, I rise with mascara, tears and battle cries. Don't need your crown, I forge my own. From ashes, honey, I build my throne. I'm an unbreakable soul, dressed in truth and pearls. The fire don't scare me, it lights my world. You can doubt my voice, but you'll hear my name. I'm holy and hood, and I'm done with shame. For everyone called too much, too loud, too real. You're not to anything. You're exactly what power looks like. I'm an unbreakable soul, through the fight and flame. My scars are stories, my strength, my faith. Faith in my heart, fire in my curls, forever divine. Clutch them pearls.
Getting clutch, better tighten the pearls. Drop the cold facts, got the truth for the world. No smoke, no fluff, just the real that we trust. Hold on to your seat, cause I'm coming in clutch. Coming in clutch. Coming in clutch, better tighten the pearls. Dropping cold facts, got the truth for the world. No smoke, no fluff, just the real that we trust. Hold on to your seat, cause I'm coming in clutch.
Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Really do appreciate your time. You could have chosen to be anywhere on YouTube. You have a lot of options, anywhere on the internet, anywhere in the world, and you chose to be right here. I know your time is very valuable, and I do appreciate you spending some time with me. Today is March 11th, 2026. It is currently 6:02 p.m. the East Coast of the United States. Bonjour. Hello, guys. Thank you all so much for joining me. I really apologize. So, I went to make this live stream earlier, and I usually make the live stream on my phone. And you know how, like, when something, like, you submit something and it doesn't go through? Well, that's what it did. So, I made another live stream, and that one went through. And so I'm getting ready to go live for Michael Vaughn, which I had kind of switched him around. And Canadian Cookie and Lolo messaged me, and they're like, um, "You were supposed to, live 20 minutes ago." And I was like, It's scheduled for 6 p.m." And I went to my back office on my YouTube, and it picked it up. So I had to switch everything around really, really quickly. Whoops, let me fix this 1 second here. Okay. So I apologize for that, guys. Um, before we get started, if you don't mind, my beautiful pearls, please do me a big favor and hit that thumbs up button. Would greatly, greatly appreciate that. Yeah. So some new information out, and I don't think it's accidental at all. I think there's movement on Jack and Lily's case. In fact, I think there's been real movement on Jack and Lily's case since right after the big blow up, if you will, about the neighbors talking about what they witnessed. They alleged that they heard Daniel's vehicle the night Jack and Lily disappeared. Well, we know that the mother and the stepfather, along with other individuals in the Jack and Lily Sullivan case, have taken a polygraph. So did Daniel's mother. However, they said she was not the right candidate to do it. Very convenient, if you ask me, but I digress. Well, now they're asking for new polygraphs, which is a big, big deal, in my opinion, because it shows, in my opinion, that the evidence isn't pointing toward the direction of the polygraphs. And then there's been Daniel, who is being charged, is being charged. He's innocent until proven guilty, of course. Not related to Jack and Lily, but with SA, assault, and confinement. Again, this is not related to Jack and Lily's case, but I do believe it will be a spinoff of sorts, if you get what I'm saying. You guys hear me? You hear me okay? Everything good? Good to see everyone. Let me say hello to a few of you. I don't even know if people got notifications because I've switched it around so much today. Lolo, good to see you. Tony, Tina, Sherry, Susan, U.S. Captain, Sherry, Bo, Carol, Lolo, thank you for messaging me, dear. Yvette, good to see you. Canadian Cookie, thank you so much, and thank you for messaging me as well, my love. Forget Me Not. Nikki, am I the only one that can't hear Justin? I don't know, Nikki. I don't know. Bo, good to see you. Susan, Autumn, War, good to see you, love. Nova Nana, they're still focused on the family, in my opinion. Absolutely, in my opinion as well. Teresa, good to see you, dear. there has to be some inconsistencies to do that. 1000%, 1000%. I agree. I can hear you, Bonkers. Okay, good, good. Hello, Pam. Good to see everyone. Please hit that thumbs up and share this live out. Would mean so, so much. All right. Y'all ready for this? Um, let's get started. Here we go. So let's just pull it out. I was not expecting anything coming out in this today. I am. Um, a very much
Discovered
uh, good surprise, if you will. Right. Again, I don't think this is uh, a surprise as far as we know something's wrong here in this case. If there's ever a case where you think something might be wrong, I would, in my opinion, it would be this one. Don't you think? Okay. Without further ado, look at there, that blanket. That blanket. The initial interviews by both with MSM were completely off from day one, in my opinion. Yes. Yes, Kay. So I have been following this case. Jack and Lily were reported, the 911 call went in about 10 a.m. I started reporting on this case about 3 p.m. the same day Jack and Lily went missing. And you locals just immediately started saying, "Well, guys, there's something really, really wrong in this case." And it only got worse from there. Here we go. Let's get started. I have not seen this before. I truly like to give you guys my genuine reaction. So here we go.
Patterned and intertwined in a tree, this pink blanket is one of the only pieces of physical evidence in the mysterious disappearance of Jack and Lilly Sullivan. And now it's the subject of a second round of police polygraph examinations.
It was in an odd spot, an odd position. It was just drooped over a branch.
Okay, so this is Haley. This is Malaya's half sister. And although I haven't always agreed with, all of Haley or anything like that, what I will say is, other than Belinda, of course, Belinda's been the OG for Jack and Lily as far as family members and things like that, even though she's the step aunt or the stepsister. Haley here. Haley has given Daniel hell, and she's truly just wanted answers for Jack and Lily. Cut the BS, and I really appreciate that about her. Of course, Daniel, Mr. Mathtel, has just nonstop blamed Haley. Of course, Malaya's mother, Cindy. But he pulled back on that the last couple interviews, although he's not really speaking anymore, which is kind of interesting when Daniel doesn't have any comment. You know what I mean?
On a thin tree, it was nothing that, it definitely wasn't stuck in there. It was just there.
Haley Ferdinand was one of the people who came upon the piece of Lily's blanket off Lansdowne Station Road on May 2nd, 2025. She's the stepsister of the children's mother. It was the first day of the search as crews scoured the woods for Lily and Jack. Since then, family members on all sides have suggested online and in the media that it was planted. Ferdinand was asked about that in a polygraph examination on February 20th.
It was, did you plant the blanket in the tree? Did you place the blanket in the tree? Did you put the blanket in the tree? And did you leave the blanket in the tree?
Oh, looky there, Mr. Daniel. Looky there. You was talking about how you wanted Miss Haley to take a polygraph, and you was throwing so much crap at her, and you knew better, Daniel. You knew better. So, what's the excuse now? What's the excuse now? They asked it in any and every way that they could possibly ask, Daniel. I wonder if they're going to ask you that, Daniel. Did you place the blanket in there? Don't forget what Mr. Mathtel has spoken about this blanket. He is the only one, and I mean only one, who lied about the blanket from day one. It took him a couple weeks, nearly a couple weeks, for him to say that, oh yeah, this is this is Lily's blanket. He also says in DT's interview that none of the stuff was Lily's. I mean, none of the stuff was Jack and Lily's. In one of, meaning the other stuff that they found, he said the other stuff wasn't Lily's, and then he says the other stuff wasn't Jack and Lily's. I think that's very interesting the way he says that there, because in my opinion, he's subconsciously thinking about the blanket being planted and the other stuff that they found that wasn't planted. He is kind of mixing them subconsciously. You know what I mean? That's exactly right, Miss Tina. Thank you so much, my dear. Really do appreciate your support. Thank you, baby. Justin, you said a while back that the blanket is going to play a big part in this case. It certainly is. It certainly is. There were people that said, oh, this blanket, fuck the blanket, screw the blanket means nothing, all of this. Let me tell you something. I rode Daniel's ass on this blanket because it's a weak spot. It's a very, very weak spot, and it means something. You don't place something in a tree a kilometer away of children's. Even they couldn't even put it there if they wanted it to. Jack and Lily couldn't have put it in that area even if they wanted to. They couldn't reach it. Right? Thank you so much, Miss Tina, for your support.
Ferdinand says she answered no to each question and was told at the end that she passed. In Canada, polygraph tests are used as an investigative tool and are not admissible in court. A number of people close to the children underwent polygraphs in the weeks and months immediately following the disappearance. Michelle Janice says police use polygraphs to help shape interviews and narrow down suspect pools.
Yes. Jackie says DM should have known what the blanket looked like. He claimed he put it in the garbage. Exactly, Jackie. Exactly. Well stated. Not only that, this blanket was in 3 different pieces. 3 different pieces. 1 second, y'all. 3 different pieces. How does a blanket get in 3 different pieces? How does a piece of a blanket, a piece of a pink blanket, Daniel said. I hate when he said that. I say it all the time. He drives me nuts when he said that. I said, a piece of a pink blanket. How does a part of it get a kilometer away? Part of it on the back porch, part of it in the trash with a single bag of trash. And Daniel says, with a hole where it looked like somebody put their arm down in the trash, one bag of trash. How does he says he put the blanket in the trash? Malaya says she put the blanket in the trash. Come on. Why wouldn't you just throw it all in the trash? I mean, I'm trying to think of, have I ever had a blanket in 40 years ever being torn in 3 or more pieces? No. Mm-mm. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. Totally planted, my opinion.
But she says conducting a second round of polygraphs could mean the RCMP have exhausted all of their immediate leads.
The best thing to do when you have we're now at a long-term missing persons case would be to go back from the beginning and start over and with fresh eyes and look for anything that they might.
No. Nope. I don't. RCMP doesn't have anything. I don't believe for a second. They might be going back over some things, absolutely. I don't believe for a second that they have nothing and they are going back to this, right?
Might have missed before. So to me, it sounds like that's what's happening.
I disagree.
RCMP declined a request for an interview, but confirmed in an email that more polygraph examinations.
I don't think that, and I'll tell you one reason why. Because for the first time recently, RCMP spokesperson said this is believed to be criminal. Or they said it was criminal. I can't remember how it was stated. It was with the last thing. No, I don't believe that. I do believe it's criminal, absolutely, but I don't believe that they're having to go back to the drawing board nearly coming up on a year before too long. Mm-mm.
Have taken place. The force also confirmed the blanket remains at the RCMP National Forensic Lab. The children's mother, Malaya Brooks Murray, confirmed to CBC News that she underwent a second polygraph test and passed. The children's stepfather, Daniel Martel, did not respond to a request for comment. For Ferdinand, her polygraph was simply another box to tick in the pursuit of finding out what happened to Jack and Lily.
It hurts the longer time goes. It's, we just want answers and we want Lily and Jack home, but we don't have that. So every day is just another day until we get those answers.
Allie Thompson,
I feel bad for
CBC
her.
News, Halifax.
I feel bad because I know this is a lot. It's a lot, right? For her, you can tell that this has just been a absolutely grueling time. It's just been a grueling time. And it's so interesting how Mr. Mathtel is, for once, very, very quiet. Her polygraph statement sounds legit. Sure does. Sure does. The synthetic blanks these days are hard to tear. They like the blankets. Yeah. Yep. Sure do. Okay. All right. Here we go. What's this? Is this the same thing? Give me a second. Okay. They're going to pull this up now. Is there a longer interview with this? Do we know? Or it might be out later tonight. Let me see here. Who is that? That was with CBC, right? CBC, Jack and Lilly Sullivan. Let me check something real quick before we go to that. Oh, okay. All right, got it. Never mind. Perfect. Okay, we're going to go to this now and see what this says. Nova Scotia RCMP have conducted a second round of polygraph examinations in the disappearance of Jack and Lilly Sullivan, with two of those tests focused on one of the only pieces of physical evidence in the case, a light pink blanket found hanging in the tree. Hmm. You know what I think they're doing? You know what I think they're doing? Hey, Esther, good to see you, love. I pray they brought DG into for questioning. I think they are checking off the boxes saying, well, we know, in my opinion, rather, that prosecutor, the defense, if there is a charge, could say, oh, well, Daniel wasn't the one who found this blanket. He wasn't the one who found this blanket. It was other family members. So I think that they, even though lie detectors won't hold up in court, but I think it's just a thing to help check off the box of saying, of course, they didn't do it. A piece of Lily's blanket found the first day of the search, tangled in a tree's twigs, has been the subject of much speculation, fueled by a lack of answers in the case. Family members on all sides have suggested online that media interviews that it was planted. Well, another thing that's interesting is Daniel states that RCMP, and he stated this quite a long time ago, that he says RCMP said it was planted. Now, they have not told us that publicly. That's if you believe Daniel Martell. I do happen to believe him on that. I do believe him that he says that the RCMP does believe it is planted, because look at it. Look at it, right? Okay. What's this? 1 second. Okay. Haley says that it was intertwined in branches roughly a meter from the ground. I think it was all taller than that, wasn't it? She described the position as odds. Emotions were very high that day already, for sure enough. We went to picture, we sent the picture to Malaya, and she ID'd it, saying it being Lily's. And Haley, in a recent interview with her home outside of Truro, Nova Scotia, it was just very emotional to see. Haley said that she was asked 4 questions during the polygraph examination on February 20th. Did you plant the blanket in the tree? Did you place the blanket in the tree? Did you put the blanket in the tree? Did you leave the blanket in the tree? Of course, she said no to all of those, right? She said no to all of those. Okay. I'm going to pull up something here in just a second. I don't have everything ready, guys. I apologize because I had another live that I was doing, so I have to pull up some of this stuff while I'm live because I was late. Daniel says pink blanket was planted only after RCMP did. What do you mean? I don't get what you mean there, Vicky. I can show you what he said right here. It's so obvious. Damn. I've never seen someone so obviously bad at, Daniel thinks that he's the cool cat and kitten with this, but he's actually not. Oh, thank you so much, Texas. I appreciate you. I usually have everything pulled up and have it ready, but unfortunately, I didn't on this one because I had to switch them out, the live streams. Okay. If we go to what Daniel says here, and he's always very, very sensitive about the blanket part, And my question is, when do you guys think, in your opinion, was it planted? When do you think it was planted? Daniel says it wasn't, and he says that the RCMP says that the blanket wasn't there whenever the bus went by. I'm not sure I believe that, right? Now, one second here. Let me show you this. The blanket's a very, very important part. Okay. Maybe. Okay. I hate looking for stuff while I'm live. I'm so sorry, guys. This was Malaya. Maybe. I told investigators to polygraph. This is where he was blaming the family, right? And now, Daniel, we know that you're the person you have always thrown under the bus, Mrs. Haley. Oh, I forgot to pull that up. Damn. Okay, I'll show you. Is not, the lie detector test says she's not, right? I told investigators to polygraph her family, and they are. Have you mentioned this to police? And this is where Daniel says, I work with detectives. That's why this can't get out. If it does, then I lose it with the investigators. What about Haley or Hayden? Sorry. I'm not sure on that one. I'd watch out. He used to be close to Malaya. Why no media standing up for Jack and Lilly? Even the natives pulled back. And then Daniel says, or the question is, yeah, I just don't. Yes, I did on a set of interviews with over an hour long with the cameraman, producers, and investigators. It will be out Tuesday. That's when he did another interview. Malaya didn't want to be anywhere. Okay, that's not the one. Okay. All right, there we go. What's more strange is nothing has been found in the woods. It's bizarre. Dogs went to the road and lost scent, Daniel says right there. More than meets the eye, says Daniel. The eye. No kids were marked absent at 6:17 and 6:18. I have emails from the school to prove that. Okay, I got to pull up something, guys, because I am all over the place right now. And I need to find the one. Okay, we're going to go to Hidden in the Fog real quick so I can pull up this. Give me 1 second. I apologize, guys. I'm so used to being organized and it's not. So I got to pull this up.
Questions that extend far beyond policy. Questions about transparency, accountability, and the public's right to know. In Nova Scotia, the provincial government is moving to expand its publication ban on identifying children who have been part of the child protection system, extending that secrecy even after a child has died. If passed, the proposed amendments to the Child and Family Services Act would be more restrictive than similar laws in other provinces. Critics and child welfare experts warn the change could reduce accountability and limit public scrutiny of how system operates. The timing has drawn particular attention. The legislation was introduced roughly 10 months after the disappearance of Jack and Lilly Sullivan, two young siblings who vanished from their rural Nova Scotia home. Since then, the family's past interactions with the province's child protection system have come under increasing scrutiny. Lilly was 6, Jack was 4. The children have been the focus of an RCMP major crime investigation since May and have not been declared deceased. Reporting by the Globe and Mail has focused on events in the months leading up to their disappearance. According to the newspaper, a provincial child protection social worker had investigated a report of suspected abuse or neglect at the children's home in Lansdowne, Nova Scotia. The Globe also reported concerns about
Jack and Lily were flat out failed. Flat out failed. The only ones that did not fail. God, why does this camera keep doing this? The only ones that didn't fail Jack and Lily was their teachers. That's it. That's it. They did what they could, and CPS failed. Cassie, thank you so much, my dear. Appreciate you very much, my love. Good to see you. Thank you so much, my love, for becoming a member, renewing your membership. Really, really do appreciate that. I know, aren't they the cutest? Exactly. That's why Malaya seems to not know anything, in my opinion. What's that, Kim? I mean, I think Malaya knows what happened to the kids. I don't think she may know where the kids were placed, in my opinion. That's what I think.
conditions inside the home, including allegations of drug abuse, reports that the children had been seen with multiple black eyes, and claims that their mother had been subjected
Piece of shit,
to
Dan.
physical abuse. Last year, Scott Armstrong,
In my opinion, Daniel put hands on anybody he could in that home. And that is really crappy. Really, really crappy. I think Malaya, in my opinion, lied about there not really being abuse, particularly in the beginning, because she was trying to keep it away from CPS because she was trying to get Meadow and all that. But I think over time, that changed with the RCMP. You know what I mean? Thank you, Miss Canadian. Thank you, darling. Appreciate you for gifting the pearl necklace. Thank you so much. Thank you, baby. If you received one of those pearl necklaces, make sure you give our Canadian a big, big thank you. Thank you so much, my love. Good to see you. Why would you turn the lights on in the room with sleeping children in the middle of the night? No one would. Not only would no one would, I don't see math man, Daniel, checking on the kids anyways. I don't see him on whatever he's on that night, his Flocka stuff, I don't see him checking on the kids at all. I do believe something happened around midnight or 12:30 that night, and that's when I believe there was a lot of action going on in that house, which we'll get to in just a second. There's cameras going to Cape Breton Island. He said that because he wasn't home, in my opinion. I think, yeah, I think Daniel was home around midnight or 12:30. Malaya allegedly says this is her story, that she woke up and Daniel was in the bathroom doing mathematics, right? I don't believe. I mean, she might have been in her bedroom, kind of, but I think it was. I think there was a lot of fighting that night.
The former minister responsible for opportunities and social development told the Globe and Mail he had begun reviewing the involvement of the child protection social worker who had contact with the children prior to their disappearance. Under the proposed expansion of the publication ban,
Angus, my opinion on that is, I think all three adults on that property should be held accountable in one form or another. I believe, in my opinion, if Jack and Lily would have never went back after Easter, the children would not be missing today. I think Malaya was very lazy, and she had more support than most. And I think she's highly immature. I think there was things that happened to her that shouldn't have as well. But two wrongs don't make a right.
if the children were ultimately determined to be deceased, media outlets would be prohibited from reporting on details of their child protection case. The legislation would also give the minister sole discretion over whether such a ban could ever be lifted.
Do y'all hear that?
Would be prohibited from reporting on details of their child protection case. The legislation would also give the minister sole discretion over whether such a ban could ever be lifted. Current Minister Barbara Adams, who introduced the amendments last week, has reportedly cited ethics and privacy laws as the reason for declining to answer questions about the Sullivan case. The proposal has also drawn sharp criticism from media organization and legal experts.
So help me out here, Canadians, with this. Are they saying that they are trying to get it to where if this does go to trial, media could not report on this case? Is that what they're saying here? Or am I just understanding this wrong?
At a legislative standing committee this week, the Canadian Media Lawyers Association and CBC argued the amendments represent a significant departure from long-standing norms around transparency in Canada. In written submissions, lawyer David Hutt, representing the groups, warned the changes would impose unjustified limits on freedom of the press and access to information. He argued the amendments.
That just amazes me. Yumpers, you wouldn't believe the stuff that the RCMP and politicians cover up with privacy laws. You are 100% correct, Justin. That's just amazing to me that in the Western Hemisphere, one of the freest countries on the planet, they are gagging the media, trying to gag the media from speaking out on 2 missing kids. Now, it's interesting to me that this is coming up, though, that this is now being spoken about. The timing to me is very interesting, and I'll tell you why the timing is interesting to me. Because, again, what's happened to Daniel, even though it's unrelated, and this new stuff coming out about the polygraphs and stuff, to me, it sounds like things are changing in the Jack and Lily case. And it seems like there's movement. Now, I think it's insane that they are trying to gag the Canadian media. Our freedoms are being whittled away. That's what it sounds like, Nikki. Yeah, like, Justin, we aren't so free. Canada is losing freedom of speech with Bill C9, although majority of Canadians are asleep and ignorant. You know, like, that is blowing my mind away because, like, we can't, like the Canadian media, they can't do anything on even social media. Like, I cannot, yeah, there's gag orders, what we call gag orders here, where certain people can't speak or whatever, but not for the media. Not for the media. Like, that's insanity. If I was a Canadian, I would be fucking outraged. I would be outraged, to be honest with you. Not just for this story. Like, that's not freedom. That's not freedom of the press. Right? Freedom of the press is the United States, but still, I mean, we're Canadians and the United States were very similar people. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it's that's disturbing to me.
Could reduce accountability, restrict public scrutiny of provincial agencies, limit a family's ability to speak publicly about a child who has died while involved with children and family services, and potentially allow systemic problems that harm children to remain hidden.
Yeah. Yeah, let's just CPS, the version of CPS in Canada. I mean, what, you don't want family members to speak out on the failures of what happened? Hey, hidden in the fog. There's always been protection of victims, but this means Child Protective Service. That's bingo, hidden in the fog. Yes. Yes. Like, you don't want Miss Belinda to talk about how Jack and Lily might be here today if, I don't know, something was done. Thank you so much, Hidden in the Fog. Mods, make sure you drop Hidden in the Fog's link. Make sure you sub up to our friend Hidden in the Fog here. She does a lot of stuff on TikTok as well. I mean, yes, I understand a part of, like, of course, like, victims' rights and all that. But just the reporting on it and the no accountability for CPS is just this is the thing. If C there has to be uncomfortableness for anybody, particularly the government, any sort of agencies in the government, CPS, whatever, for there to be change and accountability, right? And if they are not, if family is not able to publicly scrutinize that, in the Western Hemisphere, that's just, I don't even know what to say. Like,
Also raised concerns about the impact on
this
Canada's
is really good
open court
hitting.
principles. Identifying individuals accused of crimes, he noted, is a cornerstone of Canada's justice system. In his view, the proposed ban risks protecting the identities of individuals who had relationships with the deceased child, people who may ultimately be accountable for what happened. He also argued that the rationale for protecting a deceased child's identity is fundamentally different from protecting a living child. Once a child has died, he said the concerns about stigma or emotional harm no longer apply. The legislation would also require anyone seeking to identify a deceased child to obtain consent from the minister, a provision Hutt described as troubling. Requiring families to ask permission from government to publicly identify their own deceased child, he said.
That is, oh my God, I would be protesting. I'll just tell you that right now. I could not imagine of bowing down and kissing the ring of government. One second, guys. I got to fix this camera. I keep going. I could not imagine going and, having to get permission to kiss the ring of government to speak about your own family member. That's just, we can't protest or they freeze our bank accounts. What? What is happening? If we protest, they seize our bank accounts. They seize our property. We are jailed. I thought it was bad in the United States. I beg to differ now. Yep, they do Justin and Fort God. That is so upsetting. I did not know that. No, I did not know that. That is very upsetting. When did this happen? Can't protest our government at all. That really, that upsets. Since the big C. Justin, look up the Freedom Convey 2022. I'm going to start that so I can remember that. Due to the lockdowns. No, I understand. it's Canada, I get it, but it's, you just don't think you would see that in the Western world. You know what I mean? You just don't think you would see that in the Western world. Like, yeah, you go to, um, parts in the Middle East and South Asia, you protest. Yeah, you'll go to jail and, uh, all of that. But in the Western hemisphere, I mean, I've been I've been to the Middle East, I've been to South Asia, I've been to a lot of places where, you shut your mouth and you're trapped and all that, and you can't ever protest, but I just don't understand that in the Western world, that we talk about, the United States, Canada, the UK, and all that. Like, we're always talking about how, to let people have freedom of speech, freedom to, uh, vote, freedom to, worship, freedom to protest, freedom to choose who, whatever. I it's just that's just I just learned a lot today. Thank you so much, Joanne. Thank you so much, Justin. Is this possible? The children were unallowed, wrapped in a blanket, and placed in container on ATV. A piece was sticking out and got caught on a twig and ripped off as the ATV roared. So, thank you so much for that, Joanne. Anything is possible, but in my opinion, that's not probable, if that makes sense. Um, so there are neighbors that are close by that they are very confident that Daniel's vehicle was used that night. And this vehicle went in and out several times. Where this blanket was placed, uh, it could not have torn where it was, and it was just very placed there. Um, I do believe a tote is very uh, likely possible, in my opinion. Uh, but I also think the ATV is important in this case. I don't think necessarily it was used the night they went missing. Could have been. Um, but I also think that the next day, even after they were reported missing, I think things, in my opinion, were done as well. Um, Prayers for all of us who want freedom and respect. Yeah, it's just crazy to me. Okay.
Is demeaning, strips parents of agency, and raises serious concerns for the principles of open courts and the rule of law in a democratic society. Speaking about the case of Jack and Lilly Sullivan, where public interest has been intense, Hutt said the issue ultimately comes down to balance. We do need to find a balance between privacy and accountability, he said. But as Nova Scotia lawmakers debate expanding secrecy around the child protection system, critics argue the stakes go far beyond legislation. At the heart of the debate is whether protecting privacy should come at the cost of public transparency. particularly when children may have been in contact with the very system meant to safeguard them.
Hell
The
no.
search for Jack and Lilly Sullivan continues. And as Nova Scotia debates expanding secrecy around its child protection system, one question lingers. Who is the system really protecting? The source for this video comes from the Globe and Mail, March 4th issue. If you would like to stay up to date on developments in the Jack and Lilly Sullivan case, as well as the other cases that I cover, please subscribe, follow, do what you have to do, and consider sharing this video out. This is a really, really important
Very
development, certainly for Nova Scotia.
Make sure you sub up to Hidden in the Fog. Thank you for dropping that as well, Canadian Cookie. That is, and I really appreciate you sharing that. That's concerning. To me, that's just very concerning. And that would have probably have been overlooked had you not spoken about that. So thank you very, very much for that. Yes, make sure you subscribe. Okay. Now, I'm going to show you guys something right here because we're going to go to this blanket about the buffoonery that Mr. Martell. Yeah, I'm going to clapping still. I'm going to look more into it for sure. To me, that's just crazy. Guys, please hit that thumbs up button. Greatly appreciate all of you guys being here. Share this video out on your favorite social media, any of your favorite social media. Also, you get 3 hypes a week. If you would hype any of the videos out, would mean so much. RCMP, this is credit's going to go to our friend Hunter S. True Crime. And by the way, Hunter S. True Crime has a real gift of putting things together, in my opinion. They have been doing some amazing videos on other cases as well. So make sure you sub up to Hunter S. True Crime. If you're familiar with my channel, you're obviously familiar with Hunter S. True Crime. Mods wouldn't care to drop that. This is kind of like the progression about how this blanket unfolded. A soldier, good to see you, honey. His maps were very informative, yes. So the RCMP were at Jack and Lily's residence on May 2nd, 2025, around 4 p.m. when Malea's stepsister, Haley, we just seen the video of Haley a few minutes ago. She is recently, in February 20th, if I recall correctly, took a polygraph on the blanket. Malea's stepsister Haley's and stepbrother Hayden and his girlfriend came out of the woods and said they found a pink blanket in the woods in a tree on Lansdowne Station. And that is an RCMP report. Can't see.
Yeah, so just touching on the subject of the blanket.
After the live.
I've kept pretty quiet. I have a son of my own, right? Lily and Jack are my niece and nephew. But yeah, the subject of the blanket, it was found on a tree branch on Lansdowne Station Road in the evening of day 1.
Okay. You see this ribbon. This is a interview that Daniel did. It's not spoken about near enough, this interview, for some reason. And Daniel is going to show where that blanket was, even though he has told other interviewers that he's never been to where the blanket or the shoe print was found, even though he's right here on camera showing.
It was used, or the other part of the blanket was used for a window or a door at the home, and it was thrown out. And this one just ended up on a tree, I guess. But
Malaya talked about Lily's LOL doll blanket and provided the following information. Lily had an LOL doll blanket that she sometimes dragged around with her. It was her blanket and she used for sleeping before she got an actual bed set. Okay. Did she not have a bed set? And that makes me wonder, did CPS make them get a bed set? That's just speculation on my part, but it just makes me beg the question. Actual bed set redacted, and she didn't want it anymore. So Daniel used it to stop the draft from the door that wasn't properly installed. Malaya took the blanket from the door because the weather was getting nicer about a week before, and she threw it in the garbage. Again, she threw it, meaning Malaya threw it in the garbage. There was already a piece missing from it when she did that because Daniel ripped it off when he put it up. Complete bullshit. Complete. Daniel tore a piece of that blanket off.
yeah,
Interesting. And so you guys, I understand one of you took a photograph of the blanket and took it back.
This is actually hidden in the Fog's interview that she did with Haley. You hear?
To Malaya for identification.
yes, Hayden and I did. Yeah.
Okay. And then she said, yeah, it is. And so you called the police who went and I guess collected it.
Yeah, no, the police were already down searching that area, but it was in such an open spot that
Hayden said they went right back and got the police officers. He came to look at it. The canine unit came and took the dog up the trail.
cops were already down there and it wasn't seen earlier on. So it's just all a little mysterious, you know?
You know, when Daniel, I asked you guys earlier if you in your opinion believe that this blanket was planted, when you think it might have been planted. And I've been thinking about this. And in my opinion, it was planted right before 911 was called. When Daniel was back behind the house where the trail is, and when he is looking for Jack and Lily during that, 20 minutes. That is, in my opinion, when I believe the blanket was planted. Okay. Remember, Daniel said that he's never been to the place where the boot prints of Jack and, or not, can't say they're Jack and Lily's, but may have been Jack and Lily's, was, or where the blanket was. But again, you're going to see Daniel right here where the blanket is, even though he said he's never been there. Well, he's been there at least 2 times because he was there with reporters and he was there here showing detail. What did I put up here? 1 second.
And this is where the blanket was found. You can clearly see it was visible from the road. It's like 15 feet from the road. Maybe not even. Yeah, a little more than 15 feet.
How convenient that it is right here on the corner. Isn't that just the most convenient place that it could possibly be planted? Right here's the trail or the pipeline or whatever you want to call it, and then this is Lansdowne Road. Unbelievable. Thank you, Dancing in Nature. Good to see you. How you doing? Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Thank you for your support. Really do appreciate you, Dancing in Nature. What a crock. Yes. Thank you again, Dancing in Nature. It's good to see you. It was not 6 feet up on the tree. It wasn't 6 feet. It was about a meter and a half, they said. Okay. You're going to see the progression, how this goes. And now there's more to add to this.
And this is the exact branch. So way higher than 5 feet in the air. It's actually...
Daniel says this is the exact branch. Even though he says he didn't see the blanket there
over my head, so it's probably 6 feet.
But he says 6 feet.
That one right there.
Now,
Janie, over that branch.
The exact branch. That's what he says. Now, Janie points at a completely different, I think, tree. Yeah, 1 meter is 3 foot. 36 or 36.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. So was search and rescue in that area?
I don't believe on day one right down there right away. So I was there from the get-go of when everything started. But yeah, so I don't know how it was missed because it was right on like the start of like a logging road or ATV trail right by the main Lansdowne Station Road, the dirt road. But yeah.
Hey, thank you so much, Miss Queen. Miss Queen Liz, thank you so much. New subscriber, thank you for all your hard work. I really enjoy perspective and it's thank you. That means so much, Miss Queen. Thank you so much for that comment and thank you for your support. Welcome. We love to hear your perspective as well. You guys have some amazing perspectives many, many times. So I love hearing it as well. Was she sleeping on the floor? I don't know. I don't know. When that was an interesting part that was in that document wasn't until she got her bed set. So where was she sleeping? You know, Linda, I think the hype is after a little bit after the video. You can't hype it during the live, but it's afterwards, I think. Holly, welcome to the Pearl family. Appreciate you, my friend. Good to see you. Thank you so much. Welcome, Stephen, to the Pearl family. Really do appreciate you, Miss Holly. Good to see you, my friend, and thank you so much for your support. Was the strip torn versus cut, snagged, or tied? They use the word torn. Now, some people say that there is 2 pieces. Some people say there is 3 pieces. However, the way I understand it, there was a piece in this tree, there was a piece in the trash, and there was a piece on the back porch. I've got a picture of the blanket on the back porch as well. Hey, Valerie, good to see you. Regardless where the blanket was in the past, what exactly does it have to do with how it got in the tree and why he initially lied about it? Correct. Exactly. Exactly. There's First of all, it's as soon as they found this blanket, there was search dogs and they tried to get a scent. Well, there was no scent, right? There was no scent. If Jack or Lilly would have been, carrying this blanket with them, um, first of all, they would have had. Let me think about this. I just think about this. If they tore this, okay, when this blanket tore, Daniel said he tore it. And I'm going to come back to this. What's this timestamp? 3:12. I want to look at something. 1 second.
And rejected the wine
1 second.
or Dora.
Lilly talked about Lily's LOL doll blanket and provided the following information. Lilly had an LOL doll blanket that she sometimes dragged around with her. It was her blanket she used for sleeping before she got an actual bed set. Redacted. And she didn't want it anymore. So Daniel used it to stop the draft from the door that wasn't properly installed. Malaya took the blanket from the door because the weather was getting nicer. First of all, which door? About a week before, again, she threw it in the garbage. But listen to this part. This is the part I'm looking at. There was already a piece missing from it when she did that because Daniel ripped it off when he put it up. Okay. So let's say there's 2 pieces of blanket. Okay. Malaya says she threw the blanket in the trash. Daniel says that there was a piece missing from it, or Malaya says there was already a piece missing from it because Daniel ripped it off when he put it up. Okay. So Malaya threw it away. Daniel ripped it. And there is now a piece in the tree. I think there was 2 pieces, but this is what I'm saying crazy about. Okay, think about this. Okay, maybe I'm not thinking about this right. Okay, there's the blanket, right? Malaya throws that piece away. Daniel ripped it, a piece of it, when he ripped it off when he put it up. Okay, so that would be another piece. Well, first of all, when he ripped it, what did he do with it? What did he do with that ripped off piece? Which I believe this is all fabricated, number 1. A piece, in my opinion, would be bigger if it really was to block a draft, it would be jammed into the, yeah. When was it put up? Ages ago? Good question. I don't believe this was ever put up to stop a draft, in my opinion. I think this is bogus. But what about the piece on the back porch that we have photos of it being back there? We have the blanket on the back porch. There is in the trash can that Malaya says she put a week prior. Daniel says he put it out there. And then there's a piece down literally a kilometer drying on the rail. Yes. Soldier 21 months. Round down to acknowledge. Good for guys, girl. Thank you so much. Really do appreciate you, Elijah. Much love to you, my friend. Thank you so much for your continued support. I do appreciate you very, very much. And Miss Canadian, 26 months. Love y'all. Thank you so much, Canadian. Very kind. For your continued support, my dear. Really, really do appreciate you. Miss Canadian Cookie. Hey, Sarah Jane. Good to see you. How you doing, girl? So it had been washed, drying on the rail. This is the thing. They lie so much. They lie so much about, these children going missing. It's just unbelievable. God, I don't want to get emotional. Kids didn't have a chance. Didn't have a chance. Tearing it after you cutting it, tearing it would need 2 hands and a foot. Yeah, like I said, baby kisses, there's just no way. There's no way you could put a blanket in a trash bag, right? And then rip a little hole in it, and then rip it again while it's in the trash bag, right? Because if you reach your hand down in a trash bag and there's a blanket and you rip a hole in it, right? The hole in the trash bag. First of all, you can't rip a blanket with one hand. Number one. Number two, if you reach both hands in the trash bag, right? You reach both hands in the trash bag and you wanted to rip it, right? Well, there's plastic around the hole. And when you pull it, it's going to make the hole bigger in the trash bag. It just shows you that this is planted through and through, right? It's just, you still can. Exactly. So it's absolutely bogus. Hey, Lori, good to see you, babe. How you doing, Miss Lori? Really do appreciate your support, my dear. So good to see you. Hopefully you and yours are doing well. Thank you so much for your support, my dear. Good to see you. Deborah, what was the dirty old ripped blanket? Why was the dirty old ripped up blanket washed in the first place? A place on the rail. I don't think it was washed, in my opinion. Remember, they only washed their clothes, every 6 or 8 weeks? So, to me, I believe this was placed, I think this was potentially already out on the porch. And this was used as part of the lies to cover up or for some reason. But in my opinion, think about this. A lot of crimes, people throw things in the washer. They don't have a washer. But you know what they do have? They have a stove. They have a stove. And that gets rid of any sort of evidence even better. And I believe, in my opinion, Daniel said that the RCMP was asking him about that stove. And what the first picture that we have of the house the day the kids go missing, guess what? There is smoke coming out of the trailer. Yeah. Now, Janie has a wash a spinner, but it comes from Timu, right? And it's just like a little thing. That's right, Mohawk. That's right. That's right, Dina. That's right, Sarah. Your Poochie Poo? Oh, that's so cute. That's so cute. Okay. All right. Let's go back to this because this tells us exactly what Mr. Mattel was lying and how he evolved. He sure did, Mohawk.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. So was search and rescue in that area?
I don't believe on day one right down there right away. So I was there from the get-go of when everything started. But yeah, so I don't know how it was missed because it was right on like the start of like a logging road or ATV trail right by the main Lansdowne Station Road, the dirt road. But yeah.
4 is when they found the pink blanket that was Lily's. That was a portion of the blanket, correct?
Yeah. I'm not sure on the exact time on that either. It would have to be after 4 because the school bus goes up there around 4 o'clock.
Gotcha. And
because that school bus, it goes up and it actually goes up and turns at my Uncle Ron's house, which is about 500 feet past where the blanket was found.
Gotcha.
So, and the bus usually goes up there, and the bus usually makes its way up there around, I don't know, 3:55, between 3:55 and like 4 o'clock.
And this bus has cameras, correct?
Yeah, the buses do have cameras. When they looked at the footage.
Daniel says that the bus camera did not pick up anything. See, Uncle Ron. Yes. Uncle Ron. When they looked at the footage from the outside of the buses, the blanket was not there. I don't believe him. I don't believe him.
From the outside of the buses, the blanket was not there.
Interesting. And it went both directions, correct? It went.
Yeah, they both go both directions and multiple buses.
And it was not seen at 3:55, 4 o'clock when the bus passed.
No, they said they did not see it on any camera footage from the buses.
Okay, all right. And the other half, right, was found in the garbage.
I believe so. I wasn't back at the house for that to know that, but that's what I'm hearing. Yeah, that's what Logan said.
Okay, now listen to this. The other part of the blanket was seized from Malaya and Daniel's house by Corporal Rice on May 4th, 2025 at 9:09 p.m. To me, this deserves some criticism from the RCMP. Why did it take you 2 days? It was located inside a trash bag at the end of the driveway. But listen, oh my God, Joyous, thank you so much. That is incredibly generous. Thank you so much, honey. My goodness, thank you. Thank you so much, Miss Joyous. Justice for Jack and Lily. I think it's coming, Joyous. I really do. I think it's coming. I think we are getting these little drips, out. And I think the big kahuna is coming all of a sudden. I do. I do. I have faith. I do believe I've been a little critical of the RCMP on this, but nonetheless, I know that the RCMP has worked their butts off on this. They really have. And the guy in Major Crimes, he says that he believes that this will be solved. Yes, thank you again, honey. Appreciate you very, very much. Thank you for dropping that, Sarah, as well. He probably had it hidden and put it in the trash after first day, thinking they would not look there again. Well, they found the part of the blanket that day. The kids went missing. And Daniel said he immediately put 2 and 2 together and said they found a pink blanket. And he said, a pink blanket. So he immediately, him and his brother, went to the trash can, because he said even though you just see the documents where it said Malaya put it in the trash. What's interesting here? Think about this. When Malaya and Daniel is laying in bed, Malaya said she was awake. Daniel was asleep. Daniel said he was awake. Malaya was asleep. Daniel says he put the pink blanket in the trash. Malaya says she put the blanket in the trash. They can't even agree on the most basic routine timeline story of what should be very easy to tell. How far off the road was the blanket found? Not far. Just right there on the corner. I showed it. If you just scroll back a little bit, you'll see it's right there off the road. Oh, bad. What's a bad? And again, the other part of the blanket was seized from Malaya and Daniel's house. And then again, now think of this. Daniel says again, he immediately put 2 and 2 together. He said this on DT's channel. So him and his brother recorded it and went to the trash can. Okay. But Daniel denied it. Daniel denied to the media that it was Lily's blanket for at least a week. At least a week. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, so
which is really peculiar, right? Like, how, if the blanket was put in the garbage, how did it get out of the garbage and half of it get into a tree, right?
And I mean, quite a ways down the road, like down the paved road from where they lived, up a dirt road, a good at least mile or two. So yeah.
RCMP confirmed the piece of blanket found in the tree was exactly 1 kilometer from Jack and Lily's residence. Now watch this interview, because again, this interview is not widely talked about that you're about to see. And it's a very important interview because Daniel says, he's never been there where the blanket is, even though we know for sure that he's been there twice.
dirt road a good at least mile or two. So yeah.
In fact, he says he's tried to help.
Okay, so you'll see right here.
Like early in the investigation when police found a scrap of blanket on a nearby road.
Right here. Here's the road. Here's Lansdowne Road. Here is the trail that goes back behind their house. Right down that way, it'll go back behind their house. And here is where the blanket was found. Basically where this ribbon was. So anybody could see it, you know, a bright ass pink blanket going by this road. In my opinion, this was planted when him and Janie were back behind the house.
Like early in the investigation when police found a scrap of blanket on a nearby road.
I called it into RCMP when I realized there was a piece of a pink blanket found.
Okay. Gannon and Mason drove Haley, Hayden, and Hayden's girlfriend back to the location where they saw the blanket. Gannon sees the blanket. Martin and his police dog were called to the area. He took photographs of the blanket. He walked for about 1 kilometer in the area with his dog on the adjacent trail. They did not pick up a scent and a track. Now look at this.
It on a nearby.
Okay. This is Lansdowne Station right here. This is the trail. They came back here. They brought the dogs. When they found this, there was, if Jack and Lily were walking throughout here 1 kilometer away, let alone dragging a pink blanket, they would have certainly gotten a scent. Certainly, but they didn't.
Like early in the investigation when police found a scrap of blanket on a nearby road.
I called it into RCMP when I realized there was a piece of a pink blanket found.
He called it in to the RCMP. Right? He says.
The rest was here in Martel's trash bin. That blanket, one of the only.
Do you see how heavy that lid was?
The rest was here in Martel's trash bin. That blanket, one of the only clues as to what happened to 6-year-old Lily and 4-year-old Jack Sullivan.
When I see these photos right here of Jack and Lily, they only had each other at this hellhole. They only had each other. That's it. There was no one to look out for them. Malaya didn't. Daniel certainly didn't. And neither did Janie. Lily was very protective of her brother.
A piece of blanket was also seized from a garbage bin at the end of the family's driveway. Martel says it was the same blanket, but it had been ripped apart and thrown out.
I mean, it's mysterious as it is because the distance from the garbage bin to where the blanket was found is almost 1 kilometer. I was actually told there was a piece of a pink blanket that was found up the road in a tree. And I said, piece of a pink blanket.
He is so full of shit right there. You are so full of shit, Daniel. It amazes me how these people get in front of these cameras and continue to just fabricate and lie and make up bullshit over a 4 and a 6-year-old case. You got to remember, 4 and 6, we're talking preschool, kindergarten, first grade at best. Right. It's a piece of a pink blanket. Now listen to what he says after that.
In a tree. And I said, piece of a pink blanket. Like, and I put two and two together. I ran out to the garbage bin, and
he put two and two together. Two and two together. Oh, looky here. I'm putting two and two together, but I'm going to deny it to the news.
I seen that there was a hole ripped in the bag.
Listen,
and
unbelievable.
Clearly, there was somebody who went into the garbage, or something went on with the garbage for a piece of that to be ripped out. Because usually, when you look in the garbage bin, Daniel, and you see a garbage bag, usually it doesn't have a hand-sized hole ripped in the side of it.
A hand-sized hole. You know something, Daniel? You are the only hand-size hole I have ever seen. You are the hand-size hole. You are, sir. With your lizard lips.
That's interesting. Now, the pink blanket, when they told you about it, did they show you a picture?
The piece of the blanket? No.
Oh, okay. No. So they just told you they found a piece, and you went to the garbage bin. And where in the garbage bin was the bag that had the other part of the blanket? Was it towards the top, in the middle, the bottom?
These were like large industrial-sized garbage bags, right?
Okay.
And
large industrial-sized garbage bags. What are you using large industrial-sized garbage bags for, Daniel? That's a little weird.
Mom would always yell at me, don't put so much garbage in one bag, because I would always make the bags like really heavy, right?
Okay.
And so I had the
because you're what, a lazy piece of crap? Is that it? Mom would always yell at me, 40-year-old man. Mommy would always yell at me. I put way too much trash in these industrial-sized garbage bags.
Blanket was in a garbage bag, but there was another garbage bag that was inside, right? So it was like double bagged.
Interesting.
And you could see I keep wanting to say a hole.
So the bag was, or the blanket was bagged, and then the trash was bagged, which to me is very interesting, right? Because if you are just putting garbage in a garbage bag, you're not going to waste another garbage bag just to put a pink blanket. You're not going to waste another garbage bag, right? You're not going to put all of your trash in a garbage bag and then put the blanket in a trash bag and then place that in there. These are industrial size garbage bags. Why would you do that? Makes no sense. Convenient for you though, Daniel, isn't it?
That was ripped in the side from a hand that went down inside of it. And
how does he know there's a hand that went down inside of it? He doesn't know that unless you know that. Yes, his mathy sense. Yeah. Whatever bags they filled probably went on those 6 back and forth trips. The neighbors heard safe in another person's that was collected. Mm-hmm. How does he know that there is a hand that's going down in it? And again, like I discussed with you guys just a second ago, you can't rip out so if he would have if he had already thrown these things away, right, and it was already ripped, right? Because think about this. We went back to the documents in this video, and Malaya said Daniel had ripped the trash, or sorry, the blanket rather, when he was taking it up the from the doorway. He had ripped it, right? So it had already been ripped. You would place both of the blanket and the ripped part of the blanket in the trash. So you would have 2 pieces of blanket already. You would put both of those in the trash. So, number 1, you wouldn't need to go into that trash and rip a bag and rip a blanket because it's already ripped. Right? And if you took that part of the ripped blanket, and just left it out of the trash bag and then put it in the bag and then put it in the other bag with the trash, right? You wouldn't go to that trash bag and rip a hole in it because you can't rip another piece of that blanket with just a little hole. Let's say it's this big. You can't rip it because the plastic is going to expand. You're going to rip more of the trash bag. You're going to rip more of the trash bag. If the blanket's down in there and there's just a hand size print or a hand size hole, you would just go down there and reach it out. Get the piece of the blanket out. You can't rip something with, like I said, one hand, and if you do it with 2 hands, you're going to tear more of the plastic. He doesn't think about these things. It's very dumb.
Pulled something out, but it looked to be like somebody put their hand in there and ripped it out. But the blanket was still at the bottom of the bag, right? It wasn't.
The blanket was still at the bottom of the bag. That makes it even more to where you couldn't rip it if it's at the bottom of the bag. The blanket was still at the bottom of the bag. Again, this is a bag with a blanket in it, and then there's another trash bag with trash in it. Okay, so let's think about this a minute. You have a trash bag. And then if the blanket was at the bottom of the bag, this is his words. If you have a trash bag, you're not going to throw just a bag with a blanket in it and throw it in that bag and then throw more trash on top of it. Why would you do that? You would just get a bag, throw the blanket in it, and then throw trash on top of it. there's no point. You're wasting industrial bag. I mean, I buy like 55-gallon garbage bags. So like I don't use the 55-gallon garbage bags that much. I usually use just like the Glad bags like I buy them at Sam's Club. But then sometimes I have like 55-gallon garbage bags where I'll use occasionally, but I'm not going to put like bags are expensive, right? You're not going to just throw one thing in a trash bag and then throw that trash bag in the trash, especially when his mom is bitching about, putting too much heavy stuff in the trash.
Pulled all the way out. It wasn't anything like that. So
Was
Hold
the
on.
pulled all the way out. The
Well, the
bag, the blanket was still at the bottom of the bag, right? It wasn't pulled all the way out. It wasn't anything like that.
What does he mean by that? The blanket was at the bottom of the bag. It wasn't pulled all the way out or anything like that. You seem to know a lot about this, Daniel.
So
was the trash bag in the bottom of the can or on top of like all the other trash?
I was the garbage bag, that one big garbage bag, that was like a 60-pound garbage bag. And it was just, that was the only bag that was in there.
Oh, okay. So there wasn't any other trash on top.
No, there was nothing else piled on top of it or on it.
No, he see, Daniel's not answering the question the way DT asked it. Daniel did not ask the question or answer the question the way DT asked it.
I was the garbage bag.
Can was the trash bag in the bottom of the can or on top of like all the other trash?
I was the garbage bag, that one big garbage bag, that was like a 60-pound garbage bag. And it was just, that was the only bag that was in there.
Oh, okay. So there wasn't any other trash on top.
No, there was nothing else piled on top of it or underneath it.
So
you said that the trash was on, you said the blanket was on the bottom of the trash in the trash bag. Now, my second thing is, you remember, I mean, not that I believe that they throw a lot of trash away because clearly they don't. But you remember seeing the big trash cans in the photos in their trailer, and they were always full with a bunch of stuff. Remember, Daniel and Malaya both said they threw this a week ago, this blanket or whatever. If you threw it a week ago, you should have more than one trash bag in your trash. You should have more than one trash bag. If you threw all of this stuff out a week ago, you should have more than one convenient bag of trash.
So if somebody opened the bin, that's the first thing that they would see.
Yeah, they would be able to see the pink blanket in there. Yeah.
Okay.
First of all, who is committing a crime of hiding children or doing something with children and is going to think, oh, let me go see if this green thing has any trash in it. Oh, it conveniently has a pink blanket of one of the children's blanket. Out of all weeks, they throw a children's blanket away and the children just happen to be missing. Not a chance.
And so it seems like in the documents that it alludes that they showed you guys a picture and that you guys confirmed it. Was that, if you didn't see a picture, do you know if Malaya did?
I'm not sure if she did or not. I have no idea.
Yeah, you are. He's absolutely sure that Malaya seen the blanket, and so did he. And he's absolutely, in my opinion, lying about that because he goes to continue to lie to the media for, again, at least a week. I can show you where he did lie to the media, where even the media calls him out that says, well, Daniel said this was not Lily's. And then a week later, he says, or they say, Daniel first did not tell us that this was, believed that it was the kids. Malaya did. Daniel didn't.
Other key thing that came out in the documents is this pink blanket that, has come up in other stories we've reported on.
Here it is, right here.
And the key thing about this pink blanket is that it was found a kilometer from the trailer where Jack and Lily disappeared from, and it's perhaps the only physical clue in the case. So what's interesting is that Malaya's sister found this blanket along with 2 other family members the day the children were reported missing in the afternoon. And Daniel originally said that blanket was not Lily's. Malaya said the blanket was Lily's.
There we go. There we go. Just like I told you that he told the media, that this was not originally Lily's initially. Malaya did. Daniel didn't. See? Media even says it. Right? Property seized. In addition, additional spaces required. Okay. Was there another pink blanket? Piece of a pink blanket seized from a wooded area in Lansdowne. Blanket seized from garbage bin at Daniel Mathtel's residence. Indent impression casting taken from a wooded area in Lansdowne. Scat, unknown if human or animal. That's, it wasn't. It was animal. 2 children's toothbrushes taken from Daniel Martel's residence. Sock and piece of purple fabric taken from wooded area in Lansdowne.
Then Daniel suggested that the people who found the blanket planted it.
Wow. Yes. Daniel, the one who denied in the beginning that this was Lily's blanket. And after he immediately put 2 and 2 together, right? And Janie said, don't put too much trash in that. Mommy's going to get after you. Daniel throws the people searching for Jack and Lily under the bus. Imagine that.
So I spoke with Malaya's sister, Haley Ferdinand, who found the blanket, and
And now we have news coming out today that on February 20th, Haley took a polygraph. They asked her in every way possible that they could ask her, did you take or plant the blanket, put the blanket in any way, shape, and or form? And she said, obviously, no. And she passed it, obviously.
denies.
But I've got a bunch of messages where Daniel said, oh, we know who did it. We know who planted that blanket. He says, we do, Daniel. We do know who planted the blanket. And it damn sure wasn't Haley. And it damn sure wasn't Jack or Lily.
Having planted anything.
We most certainly did not. And that's on everything I have, the person I am. I would not do that in the midst of to obstruct a case for missing children, regardless if they're related to me or not. I would never. So
why do you think Daniel is suggesting that you planted it? He told that to me as well.
Probably because
looky there. Daniel even told reporters that he believed Haley planted it. You just heard her. Because Daniel even told me that, she said. Interesting.
I was the one that was hot on his ass the whole time we were there.
There you go.
Okay.
And he didn't like me from the get-go when I got there because he would not speak to any of Malaya's family when we showed up to help the search for Lily and Jack.
yeah, Daniel doesn't like anybody that's going to hold his ass to the fire and ask him a legitimate question like Haley was doing to him. That's why he generally will not interview with anybody that is going to ask him the tough questions. He's only going to interview with you if it's like the news and they don't press you really hard, or you believe him at the time.
He'd put his head down. He would ignore us. He would walk away from us. He wouldn't engage in conversation. And I kept at him. I was there for Jack and Lily, and I'm still here for Jack and Lily.
We're not sure what all of this means,
Hey, Robin.
but it's very interesting information and perhaps
Anyone
the only
seen Shannon
physical
today?
clue that the public knows about at this point. And that blanket, police have told us, has been sent for forensic testing.
I just wanted to touch on a few things.
Malaya's friend Cheryl was also there that day. She also spoke with the channel Hidden in the Fog. Hidden in the Fog was in here just a little bit ago. We was talking. She might still be watching, working around the house or something. She's gotten some really good interviews with him because Hidden in the Fog, she's very non-judgmental when she interviews. She lets them speak and they feel very comfortable with her. And so, you know, people are like that. Everyone has their own techniques to, you know, how they do things. Now, me, I'm going to ask you the damn tough questions. But it's we need both types of people who interview, because people like Hidden in the Fog, they feel comfortable with, and so they'll just keep spewing out stuff, right? And then people like me and Deception Detective, we can come back and find those inconsistencies. MS Mama, good to see you, love. Justice for Jack and Lily. Thank you so much. And it's coming. It is coming. Isn't it, Daniel? Isn't it? Isn't it, Janie? Isn't it, Malaya? It's coming. Sure is. Thank you so much for your support, my dear. Appreciate you very, very much. No, Daniel did pass the polygraph according to the documents. Now, to me, that really means nothing, particularly for Daniel, someone who has admittedly smoked, by his own accounts, the mathematics every day for years. And is a very well easy to lie, doesn't really think too much deep into his lies. His nervous system is probably, the neurons and all of that is probably fucked after all of that. So the lie detector with him means zilch to me. And plus, I think he was reading up on how to pass the polygraph as well. Okay, so this is Malaya's friend Cheryl, was also there today. She spoke with the channel.
I was actually there on Friday myself and good friends with Malaya. I just wanted to kind of touch on a few things that you said.
Okay, now listen to her account of what happened that day with the blanket. It's different, right? Well, we don't know if they interviewed him for a second polygraph.
So we were the ones that actually found the blanket. I know the blanket was found in the trees up on the road.
Half of the blanket was correct?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it does matter.
I wouldn't even call it half. Just a piece of.
See, Cheryl, which is Malaya's cousin, or not Malaya's cousin, Daniel's cousin, you see, hidden in the fog is right. Like, there were creators, Cheryl, a lot of people was like, oh, I don't even think that blanket matters, or having hidden in the fog's like, oh, it definitely does matter. It definitely does matter. Listen to that.
You were the ones that actually found the blanket. I know the blanket was found in the trees up on the road.
Half of the blanket was correct?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it does matter.
I wouldn't even call it half. Just a piece of it. And Malaya didn't leave Saturday morning. It was Saturday evening because an altercation had broken out and Daniel's mother actually tried to attack me. So it was well after supper Saturday when she actually left the premises.
I do just want to touch on a subject, though.
Absolutely.
The family altercation that happened in the driveway. I was there for that. So there's a big piece that Logan has left out, and I'm ready to share that because we all know and have not said anything.
You know what? I just messed up something. I said that Cheryl is Daniel's cousin. That is not true. It is Logan. I apologize for that. I just realized I said that. I get them so mixed up sometimes. It is Logan that is Daniel's cousin. I apologize for that. So Cheryl and Logan are going, they have two different accounts in what happened that day. Cheryl is Malaya's friend. Yes, I apologize for that. I was getting him confused.
But it's a very crucial point that they seem to be skipping over. So this was just before the briefing, if I can remember quite right here.
So this is the day everything blows up.
We were all in the house and Dan was in the bathroom.
Oh.
And when I say we, I'm talking about my sister-in-law, her sister, Leia's mother, my partner, and we were all in the kitchen and we heard like things rustling around in the bathroom. We're like, what the hell? So my stepmom went and knocked on the door and was like, damn, what's going on? Are you all right? Anyway, my sister-in-law went in and said she needs to use the bathroom. So he came out. So like he was rustling some things around in the bathroom. And we went in to kind of investigate after him. And there was drugs. Drugs was involved, and that's what fueled the family altercation in the driveway. And I'll be the one to say that because I got so freaking mad after this was found out, because then I said to him, I said, that's exactly why you're acting the way you are, running.
That's exactly the way you are. That's exactly why you're acting the way you are, running around like a madman, acting like you're doing everything and everybody's just sitting back, relaxing. Right? Daniel is doing this for two reasons, in my opinion. One, because he's, according to the family and his own words, on the mathematics. Number two, he is acting very, very much concerned, but he's also not speaking with Malaya's family, which is odd. Which is very odd. So then this altercation breaks out. So people can get locked in, not kept out. They sure did in it.
Around like a madman, acting like you're doing everything and everybody's just sitting back, like relaxing. Like nobody was, but nobody was running around like a chicken with their head cut off because we weren't on drugs. Do you know what I mean?
No. You know what? You know what? Miss Janie said everyone was in the house having a good time, having the tea and crumpets. Having the tea and crumpets. They're all in there just having a good time while me and Danny are out here searching for the kids. Justin, all of them, right? I didn't even go that morning with Ron to get my cigarettes. Okay? I just had this feeling down deep in my spirit, right? So they were all in there just having a good time, having a slumber party. So Danny, he was working so hard. He was working so hard. Yeah. Janie, the old white lady, looks at me in the pharmacy when I'm checking out with nothing but lube and Reese cups. You're welcome.
That's what the altercation was, because I was like, I confronted his family. It was actually me. And I said, what the hell, guys? Like, what's going on here? Like, why is that involved? My sister broke down and she admitted that he's been on it for 2 years or so. And yeah, so they all got very, very mad when that came.
Oh, so Malaya has more breakdowns than Mariah Carey and admits that Mr. Daniel has been on the mathematics for 2 years. And Miss Janie doesn't know anything that goes on at that house. I don't hear anything. I don't see anything. I just keep to my lonesome. Just keep to my lonesome self. Smoke my cigarettes. Drink my Red Bull. And have Tucker at the house. I've just been working on his shedding. He's so stressed. He's so stressed. I just take him to the vet and we try to live a good life. That's all. I try to provide a better life for my dog. Not anybody else on the property, but the dog.
About, and they all kind of said, you know what, we already knew that. Well, if you knew that, why the hell is there children in a home with somebody like that? Like, why aren't you protecting the kids that way? So Malaya broke at the end of the driveway. She was crying, and I was like, you know, like, what's going on? And she wouldn't talk. And I looked at her and I said, now's the time to talk. Like, get fucking talking. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And she broke down, and that's what it came about, that he was doing that. So that fueled the family fight that there was. And I mean, yes, Janie or...
I still believe, in my opinion, I mean, this is when Janie got mad, right? And started going off on people. But I do believe that there was more said that were, in my opinion, that were not being told. Right? Because again, after the math and all of this was talked about and the altercation happened, they started blaming Daniel. Some of them on that property were told more or something. We're not being told it all. Because you don't just go from the kids walked out of the door by themselves to you fucking did this. Right? I appreciate Haley for keeping it real. I do. I really do. And like I said, other, of course, than Belinda, Haley has been the one that has just really tried to keep it 100 in what happened to Jack and Lilly.
Whatever her name was, did go at Cheryl. Logan was trying to fight everybody in the driveway. They kicked us off the property because we found out something that nobody was supposed to find out, right?
We had been asking him.
So what do? What does Daniel and his family do when they find out the secret, one of the secrets? Well, they throw the family off the property, Malaya's family off the property. That sounds like they really want to find Jack and Lilly, right? That sounds like they really want to find him. Oh, so my son smokes meth. You're getting off the property.
Questions about these allegations of drug use. And he responds essentially saying, look, he's got nothing to hide.
This is a reporter. They ask Daniel outright, was he on the mathematics or anything? Daniel calls it BS, right? And he's got nothing to hide. He goes to AA or NA meetings twice a week for the quote bullshit, which is not BS, Daniel. But the problem is, which I've showed you the text messages, Daniel says he was on the mathematics every day for several years. I've shown you guys that messages. And Malaya tells the family that he is on the mathematics at the time. Every romantic partner that I have spoken to of Daniel's and people that know him, one thing they all tell me, that not verbatim, but in general, that in their opinion, Mr. Mattel got angry, in their opinion, that evening while he was on the mathematics and flipped out. I believe them. I believe that happened. I believe Daniel and Malaya's relationship was on the rocks. Case in point, Malaya left before Easter. She wasn't going to come back. She did. I bet you she wished she would have never came back after Easter. Jack said he didn't want to go back because of the math tell. I think the Malaya's money was cut off. There was deep financial issues that they speak about in this, is a big theme in this case. Daniel didn't file the taxes. They cut off the money. And there was a fight that evening. You got money for the math, but you don't got money for anything else.
He acknowledges he's done meth and other drugs in the past, but he doesn't struggle with them. And the way he explained it to us was he was attending Narcotics Anonymous essentially to clear his name.
What do you make of all of the speculation that's going on? So many people are waiting.
Well, I can already tell you the drug party is absolute bullshit.
Yep.
And I even asked the RCMP, give me drug tests. I asked CPS, give me drug tests. Yep. They said, no, it's not a concern. We're not going to do that.
Bullshit?
I even go to Narcotics Anonymous.
Okay.
I do everything. Like I go there 3 times a week just to clear the air for all that bullshit. I mean, even when it comes down to Jack and Lilly, I'm the only one from both sides of the family that is actually doing anything. I'm doing media all the time. They probably refuse to do media with you guys, I'm guessing.
Yeah, they're not.
Yeah, they won't do anybody.
The longer this goes on, Linda, how worried are you we may not get answers?
That leaves me sick to my stomach. I don't believe my grandchildren are alive. I have resigned myself to that one. But to not get answers, it's like, no, there's answers out there. 2 kids just don't disappear.
Yeah.
I'm so.
Yeah. Justin had not, Cody, he had not paid child support in I think about a year. Poor Belinda here. This is a concerned family member.
I'm afraid that people will stop talking about it and they'll forget them.
That sentence right there is one of the reasons why I continue to talk about Jack and Lily. Because Belinda said, I'm so afraid people's going to stop talking about them and will forget about them. Never. And we will do absolutely everything to keep showing the lies that all 3 of them on that property have said for nearly a year. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But they were allegedly, he was particularly mean to Jack. Piece of garbage.
After it was dark, I came back inside. What I remember, the kids were sleeping. And
No, they weren't. The kids were not sleeping. You know that, Daniel. You know that. You said it was just an ordinary evening. How could you remember? Mm-hmm. I can get along with anybody except for someone that harms children, animals, elderly, someone that can't, mentally, physically handicap. Those, no mercy. Crime, thank you so much, my friend. Appreciate you very much. Welcome to the Pearl family. We appreciate you. Y'all welcome, Crime 6955 to the Pearl family. You little kitty. Still cuties. What I remember, he doesn't know what he remembers. Mm-hmm. That's all it is. Yeah, the geocache is just basically an adult version of a treasure hunt for anybody that uses rails and trails or any hiking trails throughout the whole province. Yeah, I didn't know anything about that until this case. Never heard of it.
I could have swore they were sleeping, but it says in the documents that she had them up till 9 or 10 at night.
Yeah, you went in, you said about 8 o'clock, Daniel, right around dark. And she puts Jack and Lily down, and then she puts Baby Meadow down. And even though you said you're the one that always puts him to sleep and, does all the things, but you didn't that night, and you can't remember that night, except you can remember at midnight, which is such an ordinary thing to do, I guess, for you to go into their room and check on them. You can conveniently remember that, but he can't remember if Jack and Lily was, playing in the house for 2 hours before bedtime. Mm.
I don't remember them being up that late, so I'll tell you that. I went to bed actually a lot later than Malaya did, I think. Like Malaya was already asleep when I came into bed. I remember flicking on the light for the kids at 12 at night, or a little bit after 12, so.
Here's the door that had that wrench and bolt in it. I think this was essentially a prison. I think it was, in my opinion, this was nothing more than a prisonous torture chamber being locked up and, rug residue everywhere. Someone so hateful and jealous and vengeful, and kids with bruises on them, missing so many days of school, being locked in. Listen, if we do get the details whenever this goes to trial, in my opinion, this will be way worse than we ever imagined. What I believe, in my opinion, happened in this house. Hey, Anna Banana, good to see you, baby. We're talking about someone who says he wants to R someone in their sleep, and if they're in pain, he'll do it harder.
A little bit after midnight, and both of the kids were fast asleep under the covers.
Before they went missing. This is Thursday. Isn't it amazing how Malaya and Daniel can remember Thursday, right? Again, just another ordinary day. They can remember where they went to get breakfast, what they did, that they watched TV, that the kids played. Very ordinary things that kids do every day. But Daniel and Malaya can't really remember, when they're interviewed after they call 911 on Friday to talk about last night. Daniel can't remember. And that is why Daniel says the RCMP was saying that, according to him, Daniel, we believe you did something. That's his words. Daniel, we believe you did something to the kids. And Daniel says, no, it was just an ordinary day. Yeah. Thursday, Daniel said he had a Facebook message from Malaya at around 12:07 p.m. talking about McDonald's toys. He said he might have been out in the yard playing with Jack and Lily when he sent those messages. Oh, dad, stepdad playing, ball out in the yard with the kids. You can remember texting about a damn McDonald's toy and playing out in the yard with kids Thursday, but damn, talk about the real time frame when shit could have really went down. Can't remember nothing. Yeah, they went to Tim Hortons. They knew a manager there that would give them some food. Might have got something for the kids. Might. Right? Daniel said Malaya had to go to the DMV and the doctor Thursday between 12:40 and 1:40 p.m. From 12:49 to 1:27 p.m., Malaya was shown on her Google Maps timeline at a missing visit, which was from the doctor. It was redacted, now it's not, which she thought was another appointment. They all went to Malaya's. Hold on. They all went to Malaya's appointment, and Daniel stayed in the car with the kids. He looked at his banking information on his phone. Isn't that interesting? I just got that. Now, it's not uncommon to look at your banking stuff, especially when you're out and about. But Daniel and them didn't have any money. They were using Malaya's grandmother's credit card. Right? And this is even more, in my opinion, of a concern that they got in a fight on Thursday night about financials. About the financials. Malaya's money was essentially cut off. Daniel hadn't filed or had screwed up the returns. Daniel's sitting in the car with the kids. The kids are sleeping and it's quiet. He's looking at that banking information. They go to the Dollarama here. In my opinion, there was more done in the parking lot. Edmund, who worked with Daniel, said he saw him at the Dollarama parking lot between 11:30 a.m. and 12:30 p.m. The timing is more than a bit off, right? More than a bit off. And the reason I believe it's a more than a bit off is because there was maybe, perhaps, potentially inappropriate things going on in that parking lot. So they would want to change the time. They talked for about 5 minutes and discussed enjoying their time off work. He also saw Daniel's girlfriend and their baby, meaning the friend or the coworker saw Malaya and Meadow. Where's Jack and Lily? He saw other people inside the vehicle and heard children's voices, but did not see who was actually in the back seat. Okay. So let's think about this. Let's pretend this is Daniel's car. Let's pretend this is the coworker's car, right? Daniel and them like go in or whatever, and they do whatever they do. And they come out, they put Jack and Lily in the car, and this is all hypothetical, and they get like a text, "I'm here," right? Where you parked at, next to you, or right, we'll just say they're one of these are the coworker's car. Malaya and Daniel and Meadow get out, they're out of the car, and the coworker comes here, and they do whatever they do. They talk for 5 minutes, in my opinion, probably transfer something. And they talk, and the friend hears Jack and Lily, or they say people, in the car. That's what I think happened, in my opinion. Smiley Miley. Thank you so much. How you been? How you been, darling? Good to see you. Really, really do appreciate you. Thank you so much for renewing your membership. Really, really do appreciate that. I'm still in shock that they tidied up. They don't tidy up nothing. Nothing. That's what I think happened. That's what I think happened. You see it all the time at like gas stations and stuff. People aren't dumb. At some point, Daniel says they picked up poutine from the, I don't know how you pronounce it. Is it Archipel Pub and Grill? Acropole Pub and Grill. Was it not working? There we go. At 2:48 p.m., they went to Lawton's. Malaya said they picked up Tylenol and diaper rash cream for Meadow because she was teething. I got a question. Does the Dollarama sell like teething gel and diaper rash cream? Do they sell like diaper rash and like a generic Tylenol? Because like the Dollar Tree does here. And you would think she would have got that at the Dollar Tree or the Dollarama. You know what I mean? They have a long line of meds. Yeah, Roseanne. Yeah. I think it was Jack and Lily. I really think it was, but I was thinking about them buying medications. Yeah. I want to know about, there was this word that they'd went to a hardware store. Abigail says, depends on when you go, they may have it or may not. That's fair. That's fair. Okay, now watch this. They stopped at Starbucks, because my goodness, might as well burn grandma's credit card up, right? With $6, $7 drinks. These people are just nuts. They arrived back at home at 3:11. Well, Daniel, I can't remember what the document said. Maybe the document says 3:11, but Daniel says something very interesting, that they get home at 3:50 in the interview. I need to look at the documents and see what the document says. He says that they get home at 3:50 and have food and all that. Oh, thank you, Smiley. You're the best. And so, oh, thank you so much, love. You're very kind. I appreciate you. It's very sweet. Thank you so much for your support. And you can probably get cash back. Well, Daniel had to have some money somehow because of the math that he was piping down that night, allegedly. Here is where Janie was raking that she said she wasn't raking. Daniel's mom, Janie, said that although Jack and Lily didn't go to school Thursday, that they were out in the yard playing throughout the day and she gave them snacks. Sounds like they were perfectly able to go to school, right? Sounds like either they had a bruises, or you were too lazy to get your ass up and get them to school. Step auntie. It's Malaya's half sister, just Jesse. Yeah, Mr. POTUS. People, everyone around that area knows who Mr. Mathtel is.
Right here in this area here. I plan on putting a pool up this year for the kids. You need level ground for a pool. That's what I was doing. I was leveling out the ground to set up a pool.
And this is the Thursday.
This is Thursday.
Right.
Friday, all the investigators, search and rescue and everything. Right around here was where they found the only footprint.
Excuse me.
This is where the boot.
This is where I was raking that night. That's where the boot print was found, in the mud where I was raking.
Bullshit. I'm going to start from Monday. Monday, the kids went to school. They came home from school, they were playing outside. Tuesday, they went to school, they were playing outside. Wednesday, they had an in-service. Daniel left at 12 o'clock with Malaya, Jack, Lily, and Meadow. They went to their grandmother's to do laundry. They get home at 10:30 that night. Thursday, they were in town. When they came home, I came out of the trailer. Jack was sitting beside.
Now, remember, this is very important. This is very important. When RCMP is asking Daniel initially about, tell us about your week. Well, he intentionally mixes up, in my opinion, Wednesday and Thursday, right? He intentionally mixes those days up. And then once RCMP corrected Daniel in what happened Wednesday and Thursday, then Daniel goes and says it was just an ordinary evening, because he was saying, oh, well, we didn't get home till late because we were doing clothes. Remember that? He was intentionally, in my opinion, mixing Wednesday and Thursday. Yeah, we did close, didn't get home till late, all of that. RCMP corrects him in the documents. And then after that, it was It was just an ordinary evening. Just an ordinary evening. Like you cannot remember the night before.
The little playhouse digging worms with Lily. Jack said, Granny, I found a worm. Found a centipede. I said, good boy. You keep looking. I went over and I started raking in front of my RV where I found Malaya standing. I was raking there some gravel.
Right, Mohawk. Janie sure knows their comings and goings to not keep up with what goes on over there. She sure knows their comings and goings, but says she doesn't, right?
Out of the bank, I was raking there some gravel out of the bank to smooth it out to put a swimming pool. That's the only thing I did, was break a little gravel out of the bank to level it out for a swimming pool. The footprint was found right where I was leveling the ground out for the swimming pool. An investigator came and measured the little footprint to see if it was Jack or Lily's. That's the only footprint that was found.
She got their teeth brushed and they wore their clothes to bed because all the clothes were still in bags from when she washed them at their grandmother's house the day before, and she hadn't gotten around to putting them away. So they were wearing the same clothes since minimum Thursday? Minimum? Or Wednesday? Piece of garbage. She said Lily and Jack were hyper and excited, but she got them tucked into bed around 10 p.m. Remember, Daniel had to come in around 8 p.m. because it was dark, but he can't remember those 2 hours, right? Because it was ordinary. She put Lily and Jack to bed first. Seems like, in my opinion, she would probably put Lily or Meadow to bed first, but that would just be my opinion. Then Meadow, and then went to bed herself. Malia said they were late getting to bed that night and went to bed around 9 p.m. They usually go to bed around 7 p.m. Do they usually go to bed, or are they, I don't know, locked in at 7 p.m.? Daniel, Malaya asking. Lily was wearing a pink sweater, pink pajamas with white shapes, and a Barbie top, pink socks, and her backpack was beside her. Jack was wearing black sweatpants, a t-shirt, and a diaper, as he was only partially, meaning bathroom trained. He had his blanket and his dinosaur, and she shut his door. His door, by the way. His door. Malaya said Daniel stayed up. He said he was going to clean the house for her. Such a helpful couple. But it wasn't clean when she got up, so she doesn't know what he did. Normally, he did little projects around the house at night and fixing things, you know, like all people that is on the mathematics, tearing shit apart, not putting it back together. Malia said she had not woken up throughout the night and does not know what time Daniel went to bed. Yes. A mother that has had 3 children doesn't wake up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom. Sure. Daniel said he thought Malaya put Jack and Lily to bed that night, and he didn't know what they were wearing because they were underneath the covers when he checked on them. But remember, we've got text messages of Daniel saying they're not wearing what you think they're wearing, and we'll leave it at that, is what he says. And we can't tell you what they're wearing. It would hurt the investigation, which is the dumbest thing, because that's the number one thing that law enforcement's going to tell you is something that the kids are wearing. Amazing, isn't it? A neighbor told the Globe and Mail they were working on a vehicle in their own yard when they heard the same 5-speed car come and go from the trailer about 6 times from midnight to 5 a.m. The Honda TRX 420 Rancher pictured in this photo with Daniel Mathel and his brother Justin Mathel is equipped with 5-speed transmission loud and can speed up to 60 miles per hour. Although the neighbor could be mistaken, the ATM might not have been on the property, and most people can tell the difference between a car engine and an ATV. Okay, guys, I've got to end it here because I have a live with Michael Vaughn that I have to do here in a little bit. I put it off last night. I can't put it off tonight. I've got to do it tonight, and my schedule is a little thrown around today. Yes, look at all those totes. Let me just show you that real quick. All the totes. Totes. There's totes back here with rocks, but they were, they were raking and shoveling stuff, all kinds of stuff that night. Very interesting, isn't it? I'm going to go tinkle, and I'll be back here in just a minute. Don Will said the same thing. Yeah. The video is out about Michael Vaughn with what happened in the preliminary. And guys, it's so bad. It's so bad. Really bad. And we're going to listen to it. So if you want to join me, I'll be back here in just a few minutes. Thank you all so much for joining me. Justice for little Jack and Lily. We're not going to stop. Not going to stop until they're found. Justice is fully served. Thank you. It started out a little rough but we got it together. My times were messed up. I apologize for the people who waited on me in the beginning. It's a lot, Nancy. It's a lot. This next live is, but it's preliminary, and what happened to Michael is just unimaginable. But when I think about this, I mean, not to compare or contrast, but what happened to Michael was it's egregious and stuff. But with Michael, it happened once. Jack and Lily, in my opinion, lived in pretty much a daily hellhole. It's all bad. Michael's was with strangers, which is a very rare thing. Yeah. All right, guys. I'll see y'all in a minute. Much love, everyone. God bless. Bye-bye.